What is the most effective psychological trick you use? If you hand something to someone they will take it. It's a lot of fun. To avoid workplace drama and be well liked is to just compliment people behind their back. Listening to someone without giving advice or pushing for more information typically nets me more information than being pushy for it. In an argument, find something to agree on, then push your main point. Music, putting headphones in and playing the music that I know I'd want to hear if I was in the mood that I want to be in shifts me over to that mentally and really helps when I need to calm down or when I need to feel happier. I'm a professional poker player. When I'm in a pot with one other player, I often try to make them laugh when they are thinking about what to do. If you can get them to laugh, it sets them in a mood where they are unlikely to bluff. I talk a lot in general. It's very common to make jokes at the table, even in hands. If you need to de-escalate someone and get them to communicate, asking questions about numbers/personal information. I work in emergency services. If someone is totally distraught and shut down, asking their phone number/address/SSN/birth date can pull them out of the emotional place and bring them back to a headspace where they can talk about what happened more easily. I often ask these questions even after I have the information, just to de-escalate. When you are standing in a group and somebody tells a joke or something funny happens, people tend to look towards the person they like the most while laughing. I work with a bunch of idiot lawyers and I use the phrase "you're correct" all the time. Even if it's one teeny tiny thing they're correct about, it makes them feel smart and they instantly soften. It also keeps them listening because they're hoping more flattery will come down the pike. Evil cackle. Thanking someone for a tray you ordered from them. Instead of telling a customer you're sorry for their wait, tell them thank you for your patience or understanding. Works wonders. Playing dumb gets you out of a lot, but not too dumb. When you need to find out a name egg for a lead, you say, "Oh, is John still managing up there?" They go, "No, it's Mark now." Works with anything. Just use a fake. "Is that your focus outside?" "What?" "No, mine's the Ferrari." My youngest got into the Y phase a little while back. Read an article that said the best way to get them to stop was to ask them, "I'm not sure. What do you think?" It is a godsend. They answer their own question. You provide some feedback, "Sounds good to me," and they immediately move on. Fking awesome. Instead of arguing, I start off by agreeing and then state my point of view after addressing the other person's point. Always ends in a positive interaction. Edit. The idea is to show respect for what the other person thinks, assuming that the person isn't a complete moron. They more than likely have a valid point. Rather than shutting the person down and telling them they're wrong, you listen to them. Then after hearing them out, you can bring up your own point of view. The goal is to have a respectful exchange of opinions, rather than a flat-out argument, where two people flat out don't agree with each other and leave each other without learning anything from one another. I recently read that saying "you're right" instead of "I know" makes you look less like an a-hole and doesn't diminish something someone else may have just found out. I think it's pretty effective at not letting you look like a total S. Whenever I know somebody is holding some truth from me, I'll look at them and stay silent. No nodding, no acknowledging, just looking. The silence usually brings out the truth or extra detail. If they squirm around a bit, you know there's something they have exaggerated, etc. I work as a creative director. I have a lot of great clients. Unfortunately, with a few managers from their side, they usually go with a mantra of "if it's not my idea, it's not a good idea." I end up telling them about something Google, Tesla, Amazon, Samsung, etc. is doing and how we could try it. They jump at these ideas. The ideas are actually mine or my team's. Works like a charm. When I ask someone a question and their first response is "what?" I just stare at them for a few seconds, and 99% of the time they answer my question without me having to repeat myself. I think it's just a subconscious reflex people have to ask "what?" instead of answering what you've asked, even when they've heard you clearly. Be direct and personal when you need things. Instead of asking if anyone has an EpiPen, ask who has an EpiPen. Instead of saying "someone call 911, point to someone, say "you in the blue jacket, what's your name?" "Tom." "Okay Tom, go call 911 and come tell me when they are in the way." I have to work with kids a lot. Having a summertime job where I volunteer to assist counselors at a camp for service hours, and having 5 younger siblings. Don't tell them not to do something. If I told you, don't think about unicorns, you'll immediately think about unicorns for the split second I say it. If I instead said, think about turtles, you'll think about turtles for at least that split second I said it. Don't tell a kid not to something. Rather tell them to do something else. Instead of don't hit your sister, say, let's play a nice game with your sister. That way you don't put the idea into their mind that you don't want them doing it, which, in their childish manner, fuels the fire to do it more. I currently manage around 240 people between 6 restaurants. It is often hard to get them to do what is needed. I have found saying I need your help is sufficient to get them on board. People want to feel needed and like they are making a difference. Expressing to them as much makes all the difference in the world. I pretend to be really bad at lying, so when I do have to lie, it is super effective. I ask small favors and publicly thank people for their help, recognize their contributions and genuinely appreciate them. Nobody ever fucking noticed that I also stopped coming in on Fridays about 18 months ago. I work in an office. When people stop by my desk and refuse to leave me alone, I will get up and refill my water bottle while they are talking to me. Instead of walking back to my desk, I walk them to theirs. They instinctively will sit down. Then I just sever the convo and get back to work. When somebody shy is speaking, if you look at them and nod your head, it encourages them to keep talking. Don't say it's okay when someone apologizes. Say something like, thank you for apologizing. If someone needs to apologize to you, then it was something that isn't okay. My mom teaches this to her kindergartners and it really does make a difference. Opens doors for growth and conversation too. Thank you for apologizing. I don't like it when you hit me or whatever. This isn't something I've used, but I think it's worth sharing. Darren Brown said that once there was a muscly drunk guy that wanted to beat him up and said the classic, "What are you looking at?" Darren replied with, "The wall outside my house is 4 feet tall." The idea is that it puts the aggravated person on the back foot and takes them out of that adrenaline-filled state. Anyways, he sat down and the guy started crying to him about his girlfriend. He is Darren Brown though, so I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. I wear noise cancelling headphones at work. 90% of the time they're not making a sound. I just want all my weird ass co-workers to F off. And it works. They are the headphones of shielding. I don't know if this is an actual thing or not, or maybe just distractions, but when I do something annoying or bothersome to my husband and he goes quiet, I wait a few minutes and then I ask him a seemingly innocent question, usually on the subject of how certain parts of a car works or something mechanical. This gets him talking about the car thing and he rambles for like 5 minutes and then bam, he's happy again and not quietly brooding. I'll never tell him I do that because I'm afraid it won't work anymore. If he knows about it, it's foolproof though. It works every single time, no matter how bothered he is. When someone is trying to throw excuses, or generally if they are getting a bit arsy about something, often the best way to handle it is to stare back with mild interest and contribute nothing to their monologue. If you don't give them anything to work with, they'll talk themselves into a corner and lose confidence in what they are saying. I learned this trick from an old director who used to control pretty much any meeting room scenario by being the most silent and impassive person in the room. I fondly remember the time someone asked him a ridiculous question and he just stared at him for about 15 seconds. 15 seconds is a long time to be stared at in a room full of people. The guy wilted into his chair and nobody could work out if the director was angry or just quietly mulling it over. Think of my future self. How will my future self feel in an hour or two if I skip my gym session? Will my future self be happy if I do this pile of dishes now, before bed? Or would he prefer to have to do it in the morning, before work? I have a 3-month deadline on this project. Will my future self appreciate my current self taking the first 3 or 4 weeks easy? Or will he be really pissed off? Essentially delayed gratification. Pretty much all the bad stuff gives us instant gratification, while all the good stuff has delayed gratification. I always try to remember that if I have to wait to reap the rewards, then it's probably the best option. I can't remember. My wife's a psychologist, and I lost all my superpowers of manipulation of time and space.